Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across this video where a white man broke down while trying to, talk about the injustice that is being done to Black people and how they are part of the problems Black people are facing. Why? Because they do not speak out when something is happening to Black people, how they support anti-Blackness, racism, and white supremacy culture. And all these are what they do to Black people, and it is affecting Black people. And he actually went further to explain so many things, the things that they do to Black people and the rest of it. And now that reminds me about how Black people wake up every day to some of them rage betting and the rest of it, rage farming and the rest of it. And the fact that they think that it's cool, trying to make fun of people's trauma or trying to profit out of people's trauma, because what they do is they try as much as they can to provoke Black people and then try to make money out of it. And then looking at it, all of a sudden DEI becomes the next, DEI becomes the next N word, right? And woke becomes the next N word. How did they address Black people? They use that woke and DEI to address Black people. And looking at all this, the truth is that some of them really do not care. But you know what? Let's get into this.
Why is it that white folks support anti-Blackness, racism, and white supremacist culture in so many goddamn fucking ways? Why is it that we support it through our silence, our defensiveness, our denial, that code of silence? Let's not talk about it. Let's ignore it. All that fucking gymnastics, that defensiveness, the fucking anger, the passive aggressiveness, the stereotyping, the overt, covert racist, all the shit that we do, the gaslighting, all that fucking shit that we do as white people. Why can't we just leave Black people the fuck alone? Why? Because we were taught that shit. It's our culture. White supremacist culture is American culture. It's European culture. We see ourselves as overseers. We ourselves as entitled to control and judge Black people. White Americans wanted, back in the day, we demanded Black people be segregated, right? So we segregated. Black people said, okay, great, we're going to make our own shit. They started doing great. What did we do? We fucking burned their communities down to the ground. And you're going to sit in your fucking silence? You ought to be ashamed of yourself for not giving a fuck. Every single one of you that can't talk about it, that spews fucking racist narratives, stereotypes, denial, gaslight. That's not their reality. Telling Black people what the fuck they should think, feel, do, be. Fuck you. Do better. Reject your fucking training, your indoctrination. Question your own goddamn morality racially for once in your fucking life. I'm tired. I'm tired of what my people have done, what they continue to do. I'm fucking sick of it. I'm tired of seeing people suffer. I'm tired of the fucking inequality. And you ought to give a fuck too. I'm just kind of emotional right now. I don't understand. I was in line right now and there were these Black people and they were saying the N-word out loud and it just bothered me. I don't know why. Why do Black people get to say the N-word like that? Why? We can't say it, but y'all can say it. How's that right? How's that fair to me as a white man? I hear Black people and brown people using the N-word all the time. That ain't right. I don't think Black people should use that word. And of course, us white people shouldn't use it. But why do Black people get to use it? How about this? How about you quit whining about what black people do and focus on what white people do? Yeah, maybe I am schizophrenic. But the truth is, white people have never analyzed their behavior because they're too busy pointing their finger at everybody else instead of looking in the fucking mirror. Look in the fucking racial mirror, why don't you, for a change? Why don't you ask yourself, why are white people so quiet when they witness atrocities? And why have we been doing this for 400 years? Why are we so fucking apathetic toward black people? Why do we live in the now about race? Why is the hardest thing for white people to talk honestly about is race? And why are people so fucking racist? Now, why is that? That's the questions you need to ask. Don't worry about what the fuck black people do. Worry about what the fuck we do as white people. If white people could learn to mind their own fucking business, but the real answer is, why do black people use the N-word? Because they earned that fucking right. After 400 years of bullshit and racism, they earned what the fuck right they want to say. Just like I call myself fat. I earned that right to say fat because I am fat. And I have went through all kinds of fat shaming and bigotry my whole goddamn life. So if I'm going to call myself fat, I can call myself fat. I'll take the word back and take power from the bigotry. All right? So look at fucking white behavior for a change. And I did that character to show you how ignorant white people are. I just saw a video with a white guy complaining the same fucking thing about black behavior. White people are so consumed with what all the other races are doing. What are black people doing? What are brown people doing? What are Asians doing? No, the question is, what are your people doing? Make America great again, MAGA. Yee-hoo, Trump 2024. Yee-hoo. Too much of that shit happening in America right now, folks. Way too much to let Don Diablo in office. We all know he's a fascist, and we all know that many people have modeled after him. He's a role model for many politicians, sadly, in the conservative party, like DeClantes in Florida, destroying diversity, equity, and inclusion in the schools and trying to do it in corporations and having a lot of success. Laws are being passed around America right now to stop diversity. And Trump started a lot of this shit. But you know, there's one thing and there's one truth that I know. Everybody white, there are few people that are actually anti-racist and white at the same time. Not just not racist, but actually anti-racist, working, trying to fight actively to dismantle white supremacy, our system and our culture of white supremacy. They're rare people. And the few white people that I know that have taken a stance, an active stance against our racism, we all have something in common. At some point, we got to know on a personal level, black or brown folks, many different ways, but we all have that in common. I've taken surveys just to see how other white people got to where they're at and they became anti-racist. They saw the humanity. They were open to it. Yes, you have to be open to it. You can always deny somebody's humanity, even when they're close to you. But they saw the humanity. The racist stereotypes, the racist white supremacist narratives were broken when you get to know people. It doesn't work. It can't function because you see the reality of who they are. But the reality and their reality of living to be a black and brown person in America. People like Trump and DeClantes and many other, Nikki Haley, they all want to take us backwards to where the diversity meant nothing. This whole woke movement, they call it. In other words, people that are racially conscious, people that are trying to improve race relations, people that are trying to take an active anti-racist, if you want to call it that, or an active role in order to dismantle white supremacy, in order to just make things more equal, more fair. White people feel threatened by that. Ever since we had a black president, the next logical step, white lash, we had to have a white supremacist president. MAGA was born. And now he threatens us again, to be in office again, to take us back to a time where diversity was an extreme rare thing. They're threatened by the increased amount of brown people. They're trying to stop them coming across the border, and they're trying to stop the population rates of brown versus white. Soon brown people will be a majority and white people will be a minority in a few years. And they're horrified. So MAGA, make America great again. In other words, take us backwards to a time were that white people were more on top and brown and black people knew their place. They were in a more inferior position. Not that white supremacy isn't happening right now. It's stronger than ever. But I wanted to talk about this thing about diversity, equity, and inclusion that's being banned in Florida and other states. Laws are being passed. It's not allowed in the schools right now in Florida. In certain schools and in public schools, DeSantis has banned in many ways books, black authors, the LGBTQ community. But we all know homophobia, racism, sexism can't work when you know people, when you see their humanity. And that is how caste systems work in India against families that are put on the bottom and oppressed and suppressed and other people on top. It's caste, racism. That's how the Atlantic slave trade works. Separation, no mixing. Keep them separate, keep them on the bottom. And it's the exact thing, same thing in Jim Crow, separation. South Africa, apartheid, separation. Nazi Germany, separation. Jewish Holocaust, separation. Palestine and Israel, same thing, separation. Keep them separate, brown versus white, whatever it may be. Class, elitism, whatever it may be, it's all about separation. That is why diversity is such a threat to racists. And that's why white people are embracing anti-diversity movements. They don't want their reality. Because when you get to know black and brown people, you see their reality. The white supremacist narratives can't work and can't operate. That's why these laws are being passed. And as always, my message is for white folks, because most black and brown people already know this shit. They live it every fucking day and they see it their whole goddamn lives. My message is for white people, but I want to thank the black and brown folks who have taught me over the years. And also, and that's one thing that keeps me going, is the encouragement from you guys. And also the other thing that keeps me going is every now and then I'll get a positive from the rare white person that can handle my rhetoric about race, that can face the truth and reality about white supremacy and white privilege. The rare white people that follow me, because most white people in America, when it comes to race, we use avoidance behavior. We run and we hide. We're scared. We deny, we dismiss, we gaslight, and we hide. Or we blow up into fits of fucking rage. Cognitive dissonance. We can't fucking take the conversation because we have been indoctrinated from day one to not talk about race. And if we do, it's going to be a big, fat fucking lie. It's not enough to just be not racist, but that's how America sees it. I'm not racist. It's not enough in a racist society to be not racist that you benefit from. You have to be anti-racist if there's ever going to be any hope. So that's why I've been doing this work. And, you know, the one thing that keeps me going, though, every now and then, a white person will send me a comment or a DM and say, hey, you know what? That video made me realize something about myself. Made me see something I didn't know. Thank you. It helped me change. Those are the things that I live for. When white people actually get it. And that is why I do this. I don't do it for fucking likes. I don't do it for money. Never made any fucking money since 2015 doing this shit. The conservative Republican Party is a threat because they are the people that are actively passing laws that are anti-black, that are anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ, that are anti-social justice and anti-racial justice. And they have a plan to take us backwards as far back as they can. And it's all about whiteness. It's all about white nationalism, straight white Christianity, Christian nationalism. They actually want to create a theocracy, anti-democracy, and fascism. So vote in this election like your life depends on it for 2024, the presidential election. I'm not saying Biden's a great man. I'm not saying he's anti-racist. I'm not saying that he's for black folks or brown folks. But what I am saying, he's not the big fucking threat like Trump and the whole conservative Republican Party. He's not actively trying to pass laws that will continue more oppression, more inequality, less diversity. Yes, there's plenty of racism and white supremacy in the Democratic Party. Tons. Of course there is. White nationalism thrives in the Democratic Party. But it's not on the same level as the Republican Party. Not even close. Yes, it's the lesser of two evils, and we have to vote like our life depends on it.
So this is all I got from this, and I see how emotional it was for him to talk about how what Black people have been through, and the rest of it. The fact that some of them do not also reason that way is just life, you know. Some people are able to see through what Black people have been through and still going through to this moment. And some people think there is no need to see what they are going through, because I see some of them nagging and screaming that Black people are taking away their job. And I've been trying to see how Black people are taking away their job and making things for their life a little bit hard for them, because Black people are given more opportunity. I saw this yesterday or something, and I was in shock. I didn't know how to react, but I was just going through it. And I found that to him, he said, underqualified Black people are getting jobs that colored people are supposed to get, right? And that tells you how white people are being discriminated. I mean, like, you know, and he went further to say, talk about systemic racism. So some people do not understand, or they do understand what is being done to Black people, right? But they do not want to, like, you know, connect to it or understand it, because they are not the ones going through it. So some of them, what they believe in is that if it is not affecting them, there is no need talking about them, because they are the superior and they should always have that superiority and all that. And some of them are kind of being worried because they feel like, why is it that they are being, I don't understand how they make all that up, but I am just trying to give you an example how some of them do not even want to connect or understand how Black people are being treated, you know. And that is how it's been. I mean, we wake up, Black people wake up every day to different stories, like people using the N word. Why is it that they cannot use the N word? Why is it that they are using it and we can't use it? You know? And then you see some of them throwing it like bomb and waking up every day to gaslight Black people, even making their life worse and the rest of it. They do not understand racism, but they talk, I mean, they talk about how we are the ones being racism towards them. And when you want to talk about it, they try to tell you what, I talk to you about reverse racism. And when you try to tell them that there is nothing like reverse racism, that is a problem. The truth is that some of them are ingenuine, they are not genuine. Why I say that is because some of them, you cannot sit down and talk about race with them. They are very defensive when it comes to talking about race, when it comes to talking about slavery, when it comes to talking about systemic racism and the rest of it. It makes them very uncomfortable. They are always very moody. They are always very defensive. So how are we supposed to talk on something when you also do not want to hear me? Right? Or learn from my own or Black people's experience and all of that. That's why a brown woman was trying to, I think she's Black and another, she was trying to talk about how white women are, like, you know, not being super nice to Black women or Black people, especially in places of work and all of that. What did they do? They tried so hard to ban her account and all of that. So it's been, I mean, then I don't even know if you understand now that what they talk about now is Black people, is either they call Black people woke or they call them DEI, diversity, equity, DEI, yeah, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So how all of a sudden, and what it becomes woke and DEI, that tells you how messed up some people are. And the race has, I mean, I don't know how to say it, but it's really a very hard race for Black people, because you can imagine waking up every day to some disgusting things. Every day, there is no break. There is no break. It really sucks. Big time. And let me tell you something that I really do know so well is that if racism is something that could be stopped, I mean, like controlled and all that, white women really do have upper hands to talk about and stop so many things, because they are always ready to ask, what can we do to make things better or to, but you see them sit down and watch where Black people are being discriminated, especially their hair crowned out and all that. You will never hear or see them come out to fight. but they are always willing to ask you, what can we do? Is there any book you are going to recommend? Go around and make research and learn from other Black content creators. They also want you to do the job for them. They are always ready to vote against their own interests because they do not want to come together with Black people and sort things out, or probably work in common, common goals and all that. They would rather vote against their own interest and come back later to tell you that if we had known, you told us and we did not listen, and we are sorry. Can you fix democracy for us and the rest of it? They are always ready to ask for support, but they can never do us any favor. So all this injustice that has been happening did not start today, and some of them are also not ready to repent. It is hard. That's why all of a sudden, Ron DeSantis and the rest of them say that it is DEI. Florida is where work goes to die. Slavery was beneficiary to slaves. And so many stories. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.